Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today is the 9th of January and we just started a 200-hour yoga teacher training, and I thought I would kind of document the whole process, and I think just for me to look back on, but also if anybody else is interested in doing it, just kind of know what to expect a little bit. So we're basically doing 11 weekends, Saturday and Sunday, from 8:30 in the morning until 5:30 in the evening. So
Online.
it's online as well, via Zoom. So it's a lot of it's long days of watching the computer.
It was alright actually.
Yeah, but I want to talk about this morning. So this morning I was super nervous. I think the things that scare me the most is talking in front of a group, and also like the exams and teaching at the end. Like I'm just scared of saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing. But actually it was good, wasn't it? So today for the first class we obviously did a practice this morning. I'm going to put a little time lapse here. I did a practice this morning and then some intros, and we started talking about sun salutations. Well, sun salutation 1. A. You can see how much I learn. But yeah, it was interesting just going. So Adrian kind of went through the flow with us a couple of times and did different alterations, and so that was good. And then we had to teach a couple of people. So we had 4, there was me and Jeremy and 2 other people in our little group that we did. So I found that one quite, I was nervous. I was like, oh my God, I have to go first because I'm so nervous. But actually I think that was fine.
Yeah, it was really good actually.
Yeah. And we were just kind of saying the pose. So, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, whatever it is. And then we broke down every single pose individually and talked about, how exactly, the
benefits from each pose, the potential misalignment that you can have, so how to guide students to correct them, which cue to give, when you see someone doing this, you can say, straight your back, put your head down, stuff like that. So it was decomposing each movement to understand the specifics of them.
I think that was good, and especially chaturanga, because that's something that I really find hard, and I feel like different teachers kind of teach it differently. So it was interesting to ask about when you're supposed to untuck your toes. If you're not a yogi, you're not going to understand what I'm talking about. But when to untuck your toes, and how to go from a plank down to the floor without going too low, and positions of your arms and all this kind of thing. But it's really interesting the way they're doing it. So it's basically accessible yoga for everybody. So we're going to learn how to teach people in a wheelchair, people who maybe can't go on their wrists for certain reasons or whatever it is, all these different things.
Well, and also we're going to have someone later next weekend, I think, teaching us also how to teach people with different bodies, in a sense, because especially in Miami, everyone practicing yoga is the cliche, a 30 years old white woman that's slim like that. So we fit into this cliche. But also how you can teach people that are overweight, or that, have knees issue when they can't sit down, or they can't go more than now, stuff like that.
And also people with trauma, so language is going to be a key thing that we're going to learn about.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
He was saying, example, his manuals from a couple of years ago, and he was saying, for example, he used to say things like open up the throat if you're doing a up dog, and he was saying he would never say that now because of the connotations in terms of being strangled or people being murdered, or I don't know, there's a whole thing in terms of touching people, but also the language that you use.
Or spread your legs, or go down on all fours. I think sexual connotations.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to not only do these 200-hour teacher training to learn about the yoga side of it, but also to then be able to use this for everyone, basically, is the whole idea, lots of different people, and know how to teach different people in different situations. So then, after we broke down every single pose, me and Jeremy, so we got into pairs, obviously, because we're together, so we just taught each other. And I think we both found that a bit harder. Yeah,
because in the morning, we were leading and practicing at the same time. So we were doing the movement and saying, do this, do that.
And it was also just the movement, really.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, it was okay, so breathe in, put your arms up into this pose, and then exhale doing this, and make sure you straighten your back, or do this, lower the head. It was kind of the pose name, the breathing in or out, and the cues.
Without doing it.
Without doing it, so I had to stand there and watch doing it. So it was interesting. Jeremy's first time, he was breathe in, and I was and then exhale, and I was oh, okay. And like one of the things that you say is, and then do this, and then do that, and then so that's kind of where I think you struggled, and where I struggled was knowing where I was at. I feel like because I was concentrating on the breath, the name, and the cues, I just got completely lost. And then I was thinking as well that there was I thought that after the down dog, I thought that there was then a fold, and then the halfway lift, and then a fold again. So I was getting it all wrong, and I was thinking the breathing was completely... Like, it's funny, but I think when you learn more, you start to overanalyze, and you think, oh, I've got to include this, that, and the other, but then actually...
Yeah, you want to speed everything that you know.
You want to be super helpful.
So it's like, I need to say like 300 words in the next 30 seconds. Like, come on, let's do it.
But then it was interesting, like at the end of the call, he said, sometimes people say, and then do this, and then, like, he was kind of pointing out a couple of things that we did.
Yeah. It's like filler words.
Yeah.
We do the same on a podcast on YouTube or whatever anyway. We
is a word.
Use less words that are just there to fill up the blanks. But when you have like just a breath to say a certain amount of information, you need to make sure that you give it. Yeah. And it's not like,
because if you say like, and then we're going to lift our arms and make sure that you lower your shoulders and make sure you do this and do that and the other, the person's like...
It's a lot of words to just say 3 things.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see how we progress in terms of kind of being able to say the important information and
directing.
be able to say about the cues, the breath, in terms like when I say the breath in terms of like breathe in doing this, exhale doing that, and also the pose names. And we learned a little bit of the Sanskrit as well, which was interesting to see how like ut means something, tan means something else, and asana means pose. So that's uttasana, which we know as uttasana. I didn't even know that's how it was. Like, yeah, but it is interesting though to see how it's like so it's basically 3 different words put into one word. It's basically how it's
so like upward hand or something as well.
Yeah, upward hand pose and like so it's been really interesting to kind of.
It's a lot to digest.
It's a lot to digest. Yeah.
We're gonna get used to it.
It'll be good. I feel like, I mean, I don't know, I was going to say I feel like at the end of the programme I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but obviously I'm hoping we will. No. I think it's just like the first day, there was a lot of kind of, well for me personally, a lot of anxiety going into it. I was like, oh my God, we have to teach. And like said to us, okay, we really want to get you teaching before lunch. And I was like, no.
It's actually a good idea, because at least you just get over it.
Yeah.
Because they were saying
that some programs they don't get you teaching until week 10, and then you kind of built up for 10 whole weeks, and you're like, oh my God, I can't do it. So I'm glad we are just doing it.
Because like teaching there's the yoga and there is the leading. Like it's as important. You can be the best yogi in the world, but if you can't direct, explain, guide people, well, you're gonna be a shitty teacher. Yeah. You'd be a great yogi, but a shitty teacher.
Yeah, so it's that
it's both. It's it's a lot of communication.
And the other thing as well is that trying to keep the flow going.
Yeah,
so like sometimes like either it starts off slow and then it speeds up at the end and it's too fast, or it's maybe too fast at the start, or like trying to find the rhythm of teaching as well, because you're not the one actually doing it. So trying to think like, okay, breathe in, and then also you can't just do it on your self breathing. You can't be like, okay, well I'm breathing in for this amount because you're talking the whole time. Yeah. So your breathing isn't even in line with the people doing the yoga. It's breathe in.
It's not like breathe in.
Yeah.
You can't just like.
So you got to talk and then try and So it's interesting anyway. So we've done day 1. Tomorrow we're gonna do some Salutations B
and something in the morning that sounds like pajama, but I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Yana and Nama, I don't know.
Yana and Nama.
No idea what it is.
No idea what that is. So we'll learn. And then next week we're going to do anatomy, I think, for the whole weekend. No? Or was that accessible? We don't even know.
It's either anatomy or Diane Bundy with the social justice. It's pretty quick.
We'll get to that tomorrow. Next week. So that's it for day 1. I thought it would just be quite fun to kind of document this. I was thinking about doing just one video for the whole 11 weeks, but actually I think we've just rambled on for far too long, so it might be just like week by week.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the progress.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Like I definitely feel tired. Like my arms, my shoulders, I think are going to be sore tomorrow. I think we're getting a sore back as well because we did so many. I was trying to practice as well the chaturanga and trying to go down and then lift myself up and like forward folds and things. So there's a lot of my back's a little bit. Are you sore anywhere?
All right.
Of course you're fine. Jeremy
I've been getting ready I've been practicing for 10 days.
You were standing in tree pose while we were waiting, and you were just doing the bloody pigeon pose that everyone hates. Joe was just there doing it because he's bored.
That's what I've been practicing
bored,
since
aching,
last week every day, a little bit.
Yeah,
to get used to
this is the thing. Jeremy's been doing yoga every single day, and I've done it like 3 days.
And that's what I want to do yoga every day until the end of the training. Even if it's 10 minutes.
I know, but see, I did like absolutely zero this week. So I was like, I don't want to start a yoga teacher training with sore muscles. So I've done 0. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I mean, I'd rather do it that way. Because I'm going to be sore tomorrow.
It's not the right way. It's fine. It's just different.
Anyway, so that was day 1. I'll be back here for day 2. And I'll probably upload this as like a first week. So.
Cool.
Are you happy?
Yeah.
With everything? Yeah.
It was fun. It's a good start.
Yeah,
it's a nice group as well. Seems to be like a nice bunch of people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was good. Right, we'll be back here tomorrow. I'll let you know how we get on. But day 1, well? I think I'll sleep well. Yeah, I think my back's going to be sore, honestly.
Yeah.
But we might go and hop in the jacuzzi if we can. Anyway, that's all for that's all for day 1. I can't focus. I'm just.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye. So we just finished day 2 of the yoga teacher training. And this morning we learned about the history of yoga and where it came from. Basically, it came from, 3 separate branches of the same tree, which turned into Buddhism, Hinduism, and Jainism. So we learned about that. And then we did a meditation, and it was really interesting because I feel like it was the first time I've ever properly meditated. So I wanted to kind of talk about this because it was kind of really, really different for me. So usually when I meditate, at least when I first tried to meditate the first time a couple of years ago, I would just cry, wouldn't I? Like I just got overwhelmed with emotion. I would just cry. And then I found it really hard to kind of get past that. I was saying to Jeremy, I remember explaining to you once, like I felt like I was kind of in a swimming pool and I was being dragged down and I was just crying, so I'd have to like pull myself back up again. So anytime I felt myself going in, I'd pull myself back out and not let myself go down so no one was going to cry. And then I kind of got over that and that was fine. And then when I was meditating, I would just like, my brain would just go crazy. I think it'd be like at the end of the day, I'd be like, okay, I have to meditate to chill out. And I had too much focus on having to meditate that I just wouldn't be able to relax. And it was almost like, I think I told you this as well once, it was almost like I was playing baseball and I had an idea would come to me and I'd be like, no, go away. And my brain was super active, trying not to think of everything that was going into my brain. I'd be like, I don't want to think about you right now. Yes, I know I've got to do that. Like, it was kind of like my brain was going even crazier than it would do normally during the meditations. And I've never found it relaxing at all. I'm always thinking about, oh God, I wish it was over. Oh, my leg's hurting. Oh, this or that. Like, I could never just sit for 20 minutes. Anyway, so Dennis did a meditation today. And it's the first time that I sat for 20 minutes without moving at all. And it's the first time that my mind went completely blank. And do you know how when they say to you, okay, so if a thought comes to you, just let it pass, let it float away. And I'm always like, I'm here like playing bloody baseball, like active mind. It's the first time where like I could actually see a thought come and then it would just drift off and then something else would come and I'd acknowledge it, but then it would go away again. And it was the first time I feel like I've actually meditated ever before. And he did something like he was saying about, and I'm not even sure if I was, like I kind of feel like I was asleep. But then I also knew exactly what he was saying, and I was thinking like he was saying something about
cheeseburger.
Imagine a cheeseburger. And I can't remember what he was saying about it now, but I was imagining a cheeseburger, so I wasn't asleep. I was definitely listening to what he was saying, but I was in another world. I was like in a dark world, like floating somewhere. And it's the first time I've ever experienced this. Like it's so crazy.
Good.
Do you get that usually when you meditate, where you feel like you're kind of somewhere else?
Depends. It's different every time. Sometimes the brain just goes on and on and on and stop, and for no special reason, the day after is going to be like, it's pretty quiet down here.
So that was my first experience ever having meditation where I could sit for the whole 20 minutes and not be in pain as well. Like usually my foot goes numb or something, your head's itchy or whatever it is. Nothing, I was just like zen the whole time, and my brain was zen the whole time.
Yeah, happens. But the thing is that it's not.
But you say that, but I've been trying to do that for years. Like, I don't practice meditation a lot, but like I've never had that before, and I've probably been doing it for 2 or 3 years. So to have the first time where you experience what everyone talks about, like it being blissful and about you kind of floating and thoughts coming, but then you just wish them away and they go.
Yeah.
That's never happened to me before, so That was really cool.
No, what's interesting is that I feel like people think that if that's not happening, you're doing it wrong or whatever.
Yeah.
When like it's not you can, I think you can meditate for 20 years, but you're still gonna have some days full of crap in your head.
Yeah,
just
like
because it's just
yeah.
And also it's a practice as well. Like you're not gonna sit down the first time ever in your life and meditate and be like sing unicorns.
Yeah.
Like it's a practice. It's like if I ask you to run 10k tomorrow, you're not gonna do it. Like you're gonna need practice. It's the same with meditation. Like you need to learn how to like let go of your thoughts. At the beginning it's really hard, but eventually like you just like they come, but it's just you don't get caught up into them.
Yeah.
It's practice. Like it just takes time.
But it was interesting because I heard about people saying that, and it's never happened to him until today.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what happened today in particular. Maybe it was Dennis and his voice, or
yeah, or you're tired as well. So you had less. Yeah. You know, you've not been working for 48 hours in a sense, so you didn't.
I guess I didn't work yesterday.
Yeah, so like your mind is not.
And I also think
so
that
fuzzy.
without music as well, sometimes with music, I get caught up in thinking about the music and like what instruments they are, or the melody, or what's going to come next, rather than just trying to think of nothing. So I think the fact that it was completely silent, like Jeremy was obviously meditating as well next to me, so he wasn't, faffing in the background in the kitchen or going to the toilet or closing doors and things, and there was no one screaming outside. The only thing I heard was a helicopter at one point, but apart from that, like it was completely silent, apart from Dennis leading the meditation. I think that also helped. There was no kind of distractions of the TV on in the background, or and especially because I haven't worked, yesterday and today I haven't worked, so I haven't had that on my mind.
And you're
like,
pretty tired this morning as well,
Yeah.
and also you listened for like 3 hours of lecture. So your mind was already, I think, like pre-quiet.
Yeah.
It wasn't, like thinking about XYZ or whatever is going on Instagram, or so you're prepared in a sense.
So I didn't film anything from this morning, because we literally just sat listening to a lecture and then meditated. But then we did a little time lapse from this afternoon. I'll stick it here.
Little cuddle.
Because Jeremy put the time lapse on and he was like, right, we're gonna have a 10-minute break then. So we were just like, okay, have a quick cuddle on the yoga mat of 10 minutes. That was quite nice. And then we practiced some Surya Nama something or other. Sun Salutations A. And then we went through Sun Salutation B as well.
Well, we did warm-ups first. So
yeah.
So we did like 3 different warm-ups sequence. And,
that was
and then we had to pick one and lead each other into one of them.
Yeah, he was saying that, because the warm-ups, we did 3 different warm-ups together that are about 5 to 7 minutes long, and he was saying you typically probably do one and then you'd move into the Sun Salutations, but you could just do 3 warm-up sessions together, and then that's already kind of 15 minutes or more, 15-20 minutes of your class already done. And he was saying it's quite easy then to, if you do that, 3 of those at the beginning, a couple of Sun Salutations, 3 of those at the end, you've kind of got, half an hour, 40-minute class.
So yeah, we did that.
And then taught each other and gave each other feedback, which I've got to say, I think it's good that we can teach each other, because obviously we know each other and we can give each other feedback and be like, oh, that was a bit fast, you should have done this, you should have done that. So it's good in that respect, we're not like scared of offending each other. But it also means that I'm getting too used to teaching just in front of you and not teaching in front of other people. Yeah. Because I felt way more nervous teaching to somebody that I didn't know than I do teaching to you. So I wonder if we, I don't know, have a separate laptop for that bit and try and, I don't know, but I'm getting like...
comfortable.
Yeah, I like to feel more uncomfortable, and that's kind of weird to say that. Most people want to feel comfortable, but I want to get used to teaching people that I don't know and that I don't feel confident with. Because obviously with Jeremy, if I make a mistake, it's it's not a big deal. I'm like, oh, what does that mean actually? Whereas with people that I don't know, I think I would not necessarily try more, but I would feel more nervous and wouldn't be the same. So that's something that's different. But yeah, so we did that, and then we talked about Sun Salutation B and practiced that a little bit. We had some ice cream during the break, which was quite funny because it was like, right, 2-minute toilet break, and Jeremy was like, ice cream. No, I was like, let's get some ice cream. Jeremy said, we haven't got time. And I was like, of course we have. Have you seen me eat ice cream? Well, by the time you've served it all out, it was time to sit down again. So Jeremy was there like with his ice cream, and he's like, right, we're gonna practice Sun Salutation B. And it was like, oh god, stuck it all back in the freezer again. That was funny though. But yeah, so we did some Sun Salutation B's, learnt the difference in terms of the Utkatasana. Utkatasana, my least favourite chair pose, and Warrior One, and kind of we talk about like what it's good for, what it's bad for. What was actually really good was doing the down dog, And because I find that really difficult, so I have hyperextension in my elbows, like they kind of bend outwards.
Wonky.
Rather than being straight like that, they kind of go. So when I do down dog, I feel a lot of pressure in my elbows, because I feel like that's where a lot of the pressure goes, kind of in my wrist, yes, but also in my elbow, because I kind of lock it out of place, if that makes sense. And then I also find that my back curves too much. So what's really interesting, the way we do it, is that I kind of said, I have this issue where I can't do it properly, so I show everybody what I do.
Can put the picture here.
So I show everybody what I do, and then they'll kind of think about it and talk, and then give me feedback, which I think is really helpful, rather than just Adrian saying, you should do this, you should do that. It's interesting to have the other students give their ideas.
Well, it's interesting to observe, like, because I've never paid attention, but when we're looking at you, like, yeah, I could see stuff.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the thing.
It's a good practice to become a teacher.
You can tell sometimes that something doesn't feel right to you, but you're not quite sure why. Like I've never been able to do that, and it's always felt weird, but I've not known why. But they were saying to like twist your arms out, like so that the eye of your elbow is facing outwards, which I've never done that before. I usually have it turned inwards. So that was really hard to try and do that whilst also having my arms out, like my elbows out.
Well, it's like when Adrian corrected me. I've never noticed that was too narrow.
Oh yeah, Jeremy doing. And also in terms of like they say, kind of put your lower ribs in, and it was like, well, how do I like it's trying to figure out, and then like okay, put you, and I took my head right the way under, said okay, untuck your head a bit, and I don't know, it's like it's probably not making sense now, but it's really interesting.
No, but put the picture because it's interesting to see the difference.
Yeah. So it's interesting to kind of see that if you feel off, it's quite hard to see what needs to happen. But if you ask somebody else, they can see it. And also, in the same way, you can see somebody doing something wrong. You're like, how you do? Like, obviously that's wrong. But then for them, it doesn't feel wrong. If that makes so. Like a couple of people talked about their different things. But yeah, it's interesting to kind of look at people's bodies and see not what's wrong as such, just what they could do.
Some people are super flexible, so they naturally go into a neutral position that's like super extended when it's like, how can you do that? Like
yeah, whereas if you say to them actually pull forward a little bit and have a straighter back, and that'd be a better form. So it's interesting to kind of look at what people do and how to approach it as well. Like he keeps saying it's not about being like a beginner, intermediate, and you're doing it wrong as such. It's more about how can we position you so that it's more comfortable and that it's not better as such. Just more comfortable, I guess.
More comfortable, yeah. And you're not going to hurt yourself because.
And I think the problem
what you were doing wasn't wrong. It's just it's not nice for you, and eventually could cause injury.
Yeah.
It's more like
that. Yeah. I was going to say something, but I forgot. Anyway, so that was day 2. We're enjoying it so far, aren't we? I feel tired. I think I'm going to sleep well tonight. I don't have a sore back, which is good. I think we did a lot of sun salutations yesterday, so I just sore back. But my shoulders are definitely sore, and this muscle is starting to get sore. Who knew I had a muscle there?
Triceps coming up.
Yeah. But no, it's fun. It's good to break down every single pose and understand like the good and like, all the different aspects of it, and also to think about how to transition between certain poses. So going from standing to a plank to a chaturanga to a down dog to this to that
and the breathing as well.
Yeah, and the breathing and
to sync everything.
So yeah, it's been really interesting. It's been really good. Something that we read in the book actually this morning that kind of stood out to me. What was it on page 17 or something? About you don't adapt the person to the pose.
You don't adapt the person to the pose, you adapt the pose to the person.
Yeah, so it's in this book, Accessible Yoga. I'm just showing the cover. Accessible Yoga.
Yeah.
And it says, people are more important than poses, and it's better to adapt a pose to a person than a person to a pose. And I thought that was really good because I feel like in modern day yoga, which is what we've learned about, is that it's been going on for 6,000 years, and it's only been this last 100 years that we've kind of turned into what it is now. But I feel like through Instagram and adverts and TV and film, whatever else it is, wherever you see yoga people, they're always doing like super hyper extended, like full expressions of the posing. So whether, like with a down dog, their backs are super curved and there's like a real triangle pose, and you kind of think, if I can't do that, I'm not doing it right.
Yeah.
And same with things like the splits and whatever else it is, you think if I'm not doing what they're doing, I'm doing it wrong. Whereas what we're starting to learn and it's starting to kind of get in is that it's not wrong, it's just different, and that it's not important to get into that exact pose and do exactly what the teacher's doing. It's more about doing what feels good for you and your body, and that's going to change for everybody depending on their size and their flexibility in their age and like their gender even, because he was saying that men typically have bigger hands, so they have more space to spread their weight, whereas women sometimes have smaller hands and there's less space to spread the weight, so you might get a sore wrist, and like there's always different things I hadn't even considered. So it's really interesting to kind of learn about all this, and yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good.
It was a long 2 days, but I feel like it's been a long 2 days, but I also feel like it goes quite quickly.
Yeah, it was alright.
Like it's what, 4 hours, so it's 8:30 till 12:30 in the morning, so it's 4 hours, and we do have a break or two as well, like a 5-minute like
quickly, yeah.
And then it's from 12:30 to 1:30 is lunch, and then 1:30 to 5:30, so maybe 4 hours in the afternoon. So it's not, I mean, it doesn't seem too long.
It's alright. It's just the next day off is going to be in 11 weeks.
Yeah, so
for me.
Driving back to work tomorrow.
That's just tomorrow is Monday. Like that's more.
Tomorrow for me is day off.
Yeah, like the weekend was fine, but it's just no weekend, no time off at all. That's going to be tiring, I think, eventually.
Yeah.
I think there is a holiday.
But then, do you know what?
Yeah.
Then you'll be off for life because you're quitting your job.
Yeah, not that easy, but.
Yeah, but you're not going to have Monday to Friday 9 to 5, hopefully.
Yeah.
So, anyway, long story short, we enjoyed the day. We enjoyed the first weekend. We're excited to learn more next weekend. I think it's anatomy next weekend, and we've got to read the first chapter of this book.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think that's going to be very sciencey and learn about like muscles and bones and things.
Some stuff.
Yeah. No, it'd be good. It'll be really interesting to learn about that as well, because
yeah,
I don't
think
know
that's going to
anything
be
about.
harder. Like,
I don't know anything about muscles and bones.
it's going to be way harder, especially for me in English. Like, I know the French names.
I don't even know the English names.
I don't know the English names,
don't
so
worry.
it's not always going to be super easy for that.
I don't know the English names though.
Okay, but
Yeah. No, it'll be good. So anyway, so that's next weekend. So we'll let you know how we get on with that. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe for more videos, because we're going to be doing these videos every single weekend. So I think we're posting it about a week or 10 days later, so I'll have time to edit and all the rest of it. But anyway, keep watching. We're going to go through the whole 11 weeks and document the whole thing. And I think it'd be really fun to kind of see at the end and be like, oh my god, we did it. And like, it's good every week as well to kind of reflect on everything that we're learning. Anyway, I keep rambling. Thank you for watching. We'll see you very soon. Bye.
Bye.